This is the Fibonacci sequence. It is the corridor of all earthly life, a pattern found in every living thing. It is the inner voice of each organism, which compels it to grow and thrive. If you will, it is the voice of God saying, "Let there be life." Its pattern moves in a rightward trajectory, arcing center to right, down left, and upright again. Despite recent search engine results flipping the image to suggest a leftward trajectory, the Fibonacci pattern, as found in nature, has a rightward trajectory. The inversion or perversion of the Fibonacci sequence can be found in another more notorious symbol of our times. This symbol has a determinately leftward trajectory, a perfect inversion of the Fibonacci sequence. Where the Fibonacci sequence represents the birth and continuation of young life, those perverse acts which this symbol celebrates specifically represent the damnation of innocence and the fetishized destruction of new life. Two men belonging to a distinct organization who registered the original copyright for this symbol claimed that it was intended to appear like, quote, a child's scrawl, end quote. This symbol, as well as this legal organization, represent the blank, 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 and blank of little children. That is the whole of it. In a previous video, I demonstrated how Typhonian sex magic is a compulsive motive behind certain forms of deviance, whether the person is aware of it or not.
Is the meaning of this. And this is a very mysterious symbol, which, you've heard all sorts of explanations for it, but I'm going to give you the Masonic Illuminati inner meaning of what this means tonight. And it's going to probably gross you out and astonish you, and I apologize in advance for that. But this is what it means. Crowley reveals the secret behind the all-seeing eye symbol in one of his books, the Book of Thoth, which is a very advanced manual on tarot card readings. And this is the eye of Lucifer. But believe it or not, it corresponds to a human organ that, for lack of a more delicate term, we'll call the rectum. And which is kind of ironic when you think about it, that this represents Lucifer. And what this refers to is that the occult archaeometric doctrine of Masonry is that by accessing alternate universes through sodomy, especially of young boys, you can access alternate dimensions of reality through what are called the tunnels of Typhon. There is a belief that through this sexual perversion, they can access these tunnels into alternate universes, alternate realities. And the goal of this kind of magic is to find your own universe and become the god over that universe. This buys into the modern day physics theory that there's many, many dimensions of reality. Maybe you've read about that. Alternate universes that shows up in science fiction a lot. And then once you're the god of this universe, you can start sucking the energy out of it. And you can use that energy through this child to live forever and ever and ever. And there are men, I have met several that claim to be hundreds of years old.
On behalf of demons simply wishing to open a portal.
That reincarnation isn't merely a cycle, but a system that can be controlled. Although this idea of control is completely foreign to Druze and traditional Kabbalistic teachings, and goes against the core beliefs of most religions that believe in an afterlife. Among modern occult groups, few have explored these ideas more deeply than the Typhonian Ordo Templi Orientis, a group closely tied to Aleister Crowley and his system of Thelema and Seknamstik. The Typhonian Order believed that they could break through the spiritual barriers through using the aforementioned Typhonian wormholes as gateways to another plane of existence. The energy produced by these rituals was thought to be powerful enough to pierce through these hidden realms. With a Qliphoth being an extra-dimensional realm where the natural cycles of rebirth could be manipulated, there may already be individuals and secret organizations, some with ties to the Typhonian Order, actively working to achieve just that. Building on Crowley's sex magic, Kenneth Grant took this further, claiming that these rituals could be used to contact non-human entities beyond time and space.
Typhon tunnels are generated through sexual black magic ritual that are abused energies in children and adults. And this is a multidimensional strategy being used by the Antichrist entities to conquer the planet.
The Department of Defense should be intellectually prepared to react to possible encounters with intelligent, non-corporeal energy forms when time-space boundaries are exceeded.
Those were the words of Colonel Wayne McDonnell, written toward the end of the Gateway Report, raising unsettling questions. If sexuals can open dimensional gateways, how does this connect to the Department of Defense? Some who believe in the Kabbalah suggest that the process of reincarnation could be manipulated not only by human institutions, but also by these non-human intelligences. And whether or not reincarnation is real, our question is, could the CIA be accessing a layer of reality that, if not virtually the same, could actually be exactly the same, spoken about by the Typhonian Order? What is even more concerning is that one of the most critical parts of the report, page 25, was missing for decades. Gaslighting a multitude of freedom of information requests, the CIA's position on the missing page was one of ignorance until in 2021, when an investigative journalist from Vice magazine discovered that the Monroe Institute had the page all along. Titled under the word absolute, page 25 describes this realm as an infinite, intelligent energy behind all creation. It speaks of the universal hologram that reality exists within, represented as a spiraling torus or cosmic egg, constantly folding in and out of itself. Although the phrasing is problematic, since it falls under the theological definition of polytheism, MacDonald points out that this spiral model of creation already exists in multiple ancient religions, including that of the Abrahamic tradition, specifically stating by name the Hebrew tree of life from the Kabbalah. But here's where it gets crazy. No one, at least not anyone with a decent-sized platform, as far as we are aware, has publicly made the connection that we are about to lay out. And this is being said not to gloat, but to underscore how strange it is that no one has said this out loud, again as far as we are aware. The inverse of the tree of life is the Qliphoth, or the tree of death. And we believe that it is a map of that same space the CIA calls the Absolute, a realm of predatory, non-human intelligences, just like those described in occult systems or encountered by Aleister Crowley in his communion with the entity Aiwass following his wife's vision of Horus in Cairo. And if Grant is correct, this realm that he says is inhabited by Lovecraftian eldritch entities, those entities could be the same intelligent life forms Colonel McDonnell warns about in his report. McDonnell's reference to a spiralized tree of life suggests that he was working within a framework not far removed from Hermetic Kabbalah. He just used the language of physics instead of magic. That's not to say the Kabbalah's view of the afterlife is correct. Only that the CIA's model seems to align with the Qliphoth to an uncanny degree.
So you have before you, on the one hand, a tree of life, and on the other, a tree of death. For Brandish Productions, this is Daddy Brandish.